Hi everyone, we're going to talk again about this lower body. I'm kind of redoing this video because there's some things I'd like to explain a little bit better than the one we did last week. So overall, it's a very difficult thing I found in general to teach people and to explain and to be taught. It takes time to learn, and there's always some bit of time it takes for this to become natural. But what we're doing is we're trying to connect as much of our body to the instrument as possible. Now, what most teachers are going to talk about is using the arm, which is very good. So we're talking about this a lot, this kind of wheel movement, this circular movement in the wrist, which is controlled from the arm like this. But what about, connecting further, going into the back, and even where is the back connected? It's connected to the waist and the hips in particular. So when we're doing this, we're connecting ourselves more to a movement that's guided from where our center of gravity is, where we're sitting. So this is going to be very important for connecting things more together. It's also helping technically because it's moving us around the piano, as you can see. Even if you're doing a scale, you're coming up like this, or if let's say I'm doing a scale, I'm going down, or moving like this. And then if let's say I tilt this axis more like this when I'm coming up, it's going to make a natural crescendo because this going forward is actually bringing and applying more of your weight into the instrument over a gradual period of time. So there is one video I did. It's called, it's in the Essential Piano Technique tutorials. It's something about the lower body with the Beethoven Opus 109 Sonata, where I explained how by phrasing like this with the hips, you're able to make something very nice out of octaves, which otherwise you wouldn't really be able to do with octaves, right? So this is kind of guiding it like this from here. So one of the best exercises you can do for this, again, I'm going to repeat what I said in the other video, but there's some things a little bit different here, is to do this, to push on your piano with the fists so that you can bring your legs up. So this is almost like some sort of exercise. Now, if you have a grand piano, you can also do it here on this flat part. That's also good. I like this just as much on a grand piano coming down here. So you feel this, and then what I said in the other video was that this is pushing in. This is what my mistake was. This is pushing out. So you should feel from the sacrum that you're pushing actually this way, and with the arms that you're going in. So what's this doing is it's kind of elongating the spine. So you feel that stretch out by pushing in with the arms and out at the lowest part of the spine. So just try that. See how that feels. You should get your feet off of the floor when you do this. And then your spine becomes very straight, and this should become very, very easy to do, very obvious how bringing yourself in, see from here, that's actually bringing your arms forward. So if you play something like Tchaikovsky, you'll have a lot more power with maybe half of the effort if you're bringing yourself forward from here. So you have much more power, and then you can work on getting that aligned more and more. Usually I find when people start, they're kind of like this, not very sure of how to do this. So try to keep the back straight. Do the exercise so that it becomes quite obvious how this is bringing you in. And then you might go from being more like this to more like this, and eventually more like this, even better. And then maybe even just like a micro movement where the movement is starting from here. So this is something that you'll hear in a lot of things, like even in sports. I don't know if sports coaches will teach this, but definitely in martial arts as well. There's a lot of reference to this part of the body, like 2 inches below the belly button, which is a power center of energy. That's movements are very, very strong when coming from there. Like, for example, in karate, when someone is able to break a piece of wood with with their arm, it's not just their arm that they're doing with it. It's not the power of your arm and the muscle that's breaking the wood. It's coming from somewhere much further inside the body, somewhere much more connected. So as you can imagine, this is a very important center of the body. So playing the piano is not much different. So when you're looking for that powerful kind of sound, well, having it really aligned from here, you can also do this exercise from the chord. You know, so you can push out again from here and push in with the hands. It's a little hard to do. This is a bit more feasible, but that can easily get that aligned. So this is not only the case with loud stuff, it's also going to be the case with soft things, you know, and when you're just looking for some smooth kind of sound. Okay, that sounds like the beginning of Beethoven Fourth Piano Concerto. Can't remember exactly. It's a full chord. So again, if you just go with the hands, you can probably do a pretty good job. But try to align it to more than just this, right? At least the back, right? The back. You can even absorb the speed of your attack in more of your body than just here, you know? So that's the following through. We're not going to play and lock, but rather follow through on the movement. So there's a movement during and after the attack that's absorbing the speed of the attack. So this doesn't have to be only here, but can be more in the spine, especially if it's coming from here. So again, align yourself and then bring it in from here. You see how more of the body is implicated. And this can be very precise. Again, if you're like this, it doesn't really work because now the spine is crooked. You can do things from here because sometimes we're going to come around and then go in like this. But if it's just attacking one chord, better to be straight and even keep the body back so you have long arms, kind of like Rubinstein, and you have a very precise attack coming from the lower body. It's very subtle. Again, I'm not doing this much. I could if I wanted more sound, but even with a lot of sound, there's so little movement required in order to go into that little space of the keys if the movement is starting from the hips and the sitting bones. It's very important to feel the sitting bones, where the weight is distributed on the sitting bones. So this is a little 101 on playing with the lower body, and there's a lot to say about this. So ask me your questions about this so we can see, you know, what are the most common questions that we have about this and start to address them. And hopefully we'll talk about this more and more, you know, because there's always something to connect. Maybe one last thing I'd like to show you is how we connect the wheel to the hips. So here we're having our wheel. I have a hard time actually not to do it because I'm so used to doing it. So now I'll only use this to do the wheel. As you can see, this is coming up and around. The weight is transferring down from key to key from this by bringing this up. Very good. Much better than trying to make that kind of sound with only the fingers moving. You know, only fingers and wheel. Now what we can do is make the wheel come from here. What we're doing is, imagine you have some connection between the elbow and the hip bone right here. So the elbow is kind of at the mercy of the movement of this. The movement is coming from here. What's going to happen is, see how this, now it's going like this. It's not only just the arm working this, but it's more this. So this is going deeper inside of you. It's easier to get more of your personality into the instrument, and it makes a much more interesting thing to listen to. And there's a huge difference between that. Okay, we have our three layers. One is using only the fingers, the worst thing we can do. And let's say what we want is to show the centrifugal forces in this music. So that's kind of This sort of thing. So if we're doing that with only the fingers, it's not going to be very effective. We make a kind of artificial sound that's, you know, not so satisfying to listen to, except for the fact that it's very can be very let's say tic-tacky, you know. Now when we add the arm in, all of a sudden there's like, whoa, there's something going on. Very different kind of thing than just playing with the fingers. Now if we add this to the lower body, there's something even deeper in that. And we can go through tons and tons of examples of places where, again, like with the octaves in that Beethoven Opus 109 at the end of the first movement, where it's kind of not impossible, but there's very little you can do with just the arm. So if you're doing this with the lower body as well, you have much more control over phrasing and shaping things and putting more of you physically into the instrument. So we're going to talk about this more when you come to my masterclass. We're going to talk about this. We're going to work on that. How to play physically, how to go really further in the technique, as far as we can. Not just hands and fingers, not just the arm, but again going into the back and the torso and all this. So thanks for listening. We got a live stream coming up. If you're watching this now, we have a live stream coming up in just a few hours, 1 o'clock May. What is the day? It's Tuesday today, 29th, I believe, Eastern time. So all the times for the live streams are always Eastern time, at least for now, because I'm in Montreal. So stay tuned for that, and see you soon, and keep working on that technique.